Greetings. This video explains the functionality of the Excel decision tree application. Make sure you have the two Excel files on your desktop, not in a group. It should be on the desktop. One is the DTZ master and the other is the DT license file. You don't do anything with this file. Double click on the master file and this will open up a sample project. It looks complicated, but for the moment just ignore that. What is important is to note that sometimes you might have a message here somewhere saying enable macros. The other times when you right click on any node, you will see the standard Excel menu. If you see this menu, that means your macros have not been enabled. To enable macros, go to File, Options, Trust Center settings, Macro settings, and say Enable Macros and Trust Access. And say OK. This is for Excel 2010. Other versions of Excel would have a slightly different access mode. Now that you're here, simply close the file, do not save it, and launch it again. This time, select a node, right-click, and you will see what we call the nodes menu. This is the menu we will use to build our decision tree. So it is very important that you are able to see this menu. Now to the decision tree itself. You will see nodes of three colors. Blue is for decision nodes, green is for probability nodes, yellow is for terminal nodes. Observe that all nodes are connected to at least one node. We have nodes, we have branches, and we have some numbers here. The sheet is locked. All you can do is change the names of the nodes, the branches, the terminal values. Now let's go ahead and redraw a fresh decision tree. So click on any node and say erase this decision tree and build a new one. And so the first node should be a decision node. Good. Here we have the decision node. And if you have to make a decision, you must at least have two options. So here are two branches. We can now convert this to a probability node and this again to a probability node. Maybe this to a decision node, etc. And as you can see, it keeps adding nodes. Here, let's do a decision node and a probability node. So you can easily build your model to match the tree that you built manually. Remember, you must never develop a model without a manually drawn decision tree. If you do, you will get into trouble, I assure you. The next thing to observe is these three parameters. These are probabilities you can modify using these scales. So let's start a fresh decision tree once again. Let's make a probability node. As you do that, you will see the values 0.5 and 0.5. So let's link this to the first parameter. This is the first probability change. So what you need to do is say equal and type param. As soon as you type, you will see param1 come up. Just tab and enter and it will be positioned. As soon as you do that, you'll see the value is now param1 and the next value is 1 minus param1 because probabilities must always add up to 1. Let's do another one for this. So let's create a probability node and now we'll establish the second probability. Here we would say equals param2 and tab enter, and once again we see these values. This is a 60, this value is 60, so you see 60 here. This value is 30, so you see a 30 here. So this is all you need to do with regard to building a decision tree and linking the probability values. When you change it, it'll move around. If you wish to add another leg, a third probability here, a third leg, all you have to do is select the node, click, right click and say add a branch leading to a new node. And you can see now you have a third one. This is a 0. Now, if you put 0.3 here, you will see this doesn't add up to 1. Now, the safest bet is to go in here and say redraw and check for errors. When you do that, it says some probabilities need to be modified for node 2 because it adds up to 1.3. So that's not correct. So let's make this 0.1. Let's see if we are correct. Redraw. And it has not complained. What if we wish to have this node directly connected to this node? Yes, we can move it easily. All you do is select this node and right click and say reassign predecessor and say OK. Now it says where do you want to connect to? So make sure the cursor is here and select this and say OK. Guess what? It connected down here, but it did say you've now got a probability issue with node 2. Once again, it only adds up to 0.7. So let's see. So what we need to do is make this either 0.4 or better, we say equals within brackets 1 minus this parameter, etc. So now you can see this is param2 and this is 1 minus param2 or 1 minus j3. And here is param. How do you delete a node? Now we have a third branch, but then we decide we want to delete this. All you have to do is select this, go here and say delete node, and it's gone. but it says you've got some probability problem. Always check and redraw. So this is all there is to building a decision tree. Later we will explain how you can work with it. But for now, you can start playing around and making sure that you know how to build a decision tree. Okay, that's it for this video. Keep an eye open for other videos.